Imagine waking up one ordinary morning. You make your coffee. The house is silent. For the first time in decades. You don't have to go to work. No alarm clock. No meetings. No deadlines. Only peace. You slowly walk into the kitchen. You pour yourself a cup of coffee. You sit beside the window. Outside. The world feels exactly the same as it did yesterday. Birds are singing. Cars quietly pass by. Everything seems normal. Then your phone vibrates. It's your bank notification. You smile. You've spent your entire life preparing for this moment. 40 years of work, thousands of early mornings, countless sacrifices, missed vacations, late nights, every paycheck. A small piece of your future. You open the app. For a moment, you simply stare. The numbers are lower than you expected. Not by hundreds, by thousands. You blink. Maybe it's a mistake. You refresh the screen. The number doesn't change. You tell yourself, it was probably just an expensive month. So you close the app, finish your coffee, and continue your day. A month later, it happens again. Another month. Again. Nothing dramatic. No emergency. No financial disaster. Just less money. Month after month. Year after year. Slowly. Almost invisibly. Your retirement begins changing. Not because you made one terrible decision, but because of hundreds of tiny ones you never realized mattered. And that's exactly how retirement problems usually begin. Not with panic, not with bankruptcy, not with one catastrophic event. They begin quietly, like water dripping from a faucet. One drop, then another, then another. Each drop seems meaningless. Until one day, the bucket is empty. Here's something most people never expect. Running out of money rarely feels dramatic. It feels ordinary. You skip eating out this week. You postpone replacing the washing machine. You delay visiting the dentist. You tell yourself you'll travel next year instead. One small compromise. Then another. Then another. Eventually, the retirement you imagined quietly disappears. And here's the heartbreaking part. Millions of people believe this happened because they didn't save enough. But that's rarely the whole story. Many people worked hard, saved consistently, avoided debt, made responsible choices, and yet still found themselves asking one frightening question. Where did all my money go? Maybe you've asked yourself something similar. Maybe you've looked at rising grocery prices, or another insurance bill, or another medical expense, and wondered, how much longer can this continue? If so, you're far from alone. Because something has changed. Not just in your life, in the world itself. People are living longer than ever before. Healthcare costs continue rising. Inflation quietly reduces purchasing power every single year. Families depend on parents longer than they once did. Retirement itself has become more expensive than anyone imagined. Yet most people are still using retirement advice, written for a completely different world. Advice from 30 years ago, for an economy that no longer exists, for prices that no longer exist, for life expectancies that no longer exist. That's why so many good people still struggle. Not because they're irresponsible, because nobody prepared them for today's retirement. But here's the encouraging news. Every problem has a pattern, and once you understand the pattern, you can change the outcome. That's exactly what we're going to do. In this documentary, we're going to uncover the 5 biggest reasons why millions of people over 50 slowly run out of money. Not through fear, not through complicated financial language, but through simple truths, real stories, and practical lessons anyone can understand. Because retirement isn't won by people with the highest income, it's won by people who understand the rules. Rules that almost nobody teaches. By the end of this journey, you'll never look at retirement the same way again. You may even discover that protecting your future has less to do with earning more money and far more to do with understanding where it quietly disappears. So before we talk about investments, budgets, or saving strategies, we need to understand something much bigger, a silent crisis that almost nobody sees coming. Because once you understand that, everything else finally makes sense. Let's begin. Most people believe retirement has one finish line. Reach a certain number, and everything will be fine. $1 million. $2 million. Maybe even more. They spend decades chasing that number. Working overtime. Skipping vacations. Saving every bonus. Watching investment accounts. Waiting for the day they can finally relax. But here's something almost nobody tells them. Retirement isn't a destination. It's the beginning of an entirely new financial life. Imagine preparing for the longest road trip you've ever taken. You carefully fill your gas tank. Pack your luggage. Check your tires. Plan your route. Then someone tells you, by the way, this journey won't last a few days. It could last 30 years. 30 years. Without a regular paycheck. Without annual raises. Without performance bonuses. Yet the bills continue arriving. Every month. Without fail. Electricity. Water. Property taxes. Insurance. Groceries. Internet. Home maintenance. Healthcare. None of them stop. Simply because you've retired. In fact, some become even more expensive. That's why retirement is unlike any other stage of life. For 40 years, your biggest financial challenge was earning money. After retirement, your biggest challenge becomes protecting it. Those are completely different games. And the rules are different. Imagine standing on a beautiful beach. You build a magnificent sandcastle. It takes hours, careful planning, patience, hard work. Finally, it's finished. Then the tide begins rising. Slowly, almost silently, one small wave, then another. The castle doesn't collapse immediately. It slowly loses shape, little by little, until one day, it's gone. That's exactly how retirement savings disappear. Not in one terrible moment, but through years of ordinary life. The frightening part is, most people never notice the tide. Because every expense seems reasonable. The grocery bill, the insurance payment, helping your grandson, replacing an old refrigerator,
fixing the roof.
Nothing feels irresponsible. Nothing feels extravagant.
Everything feels normal.
And that's exactly why the danger is so easy to miss. Financial disasters rarely begin with reckless spending.
They begin with ordinary spending, repeated thousands of times. Think about this. If someone stole $100,000 from your retirement account overnight, you'd notice it immediately. You'd call the bank, the police,
Your financial advisor. But what if that same amount disappeared?
$5 today, $20 next week,
$50 next month, $100 after that. Would you notice? Probably not.
because the human brain isn't designed to detect slow change. We notice explosions.
We rarely notice slow leaks. That's why retirement planning isn't really about mathematics.
It's about awareness. The earlier you recognize the small leaks, the easier they are to fix. Unfortunately, most people don't discover them until retirement has already begun. And by then, every correction becomes more difficult. Here's something that may surprise you. Running out of money isn't always caused by low income. Many high-income earners struggle in retirement, and many people with average salaries retire comfortably.
Why? He will. Because retirement success isn't determined only by how much you earn.
It's determined by how well you manage what you keep. That's a completely different skill. One that schools rarely teach. One that many families never discuss. And one that can completely change the course of your future. Over the next few chapters, we're going to uncover the 5 biggest reasons retirement savings quietly disappear. Not to frighten you, but to prepare you. Because once you understand the hidden dangers, you stop fearing retirement and start planning for it with confidence. We'll begin with the most patient enemy of all. It never sleeps.
It never takes a day off. It quietly reduces the value of every dollar you own,
Even while you're doing absolutely nothing. Its name is inflation.
Reason number 1, the invisible thief called inflation. Let's begin with the first reason, the one almost everyone has heard about, but very few truly understand. Inflation. It's one of those words people hear on television,
Read in newspapers, or see online. Most people nod their heads, as if they understand it. But if you ask them one simple question,
how will inflation affect your retirement 20 years from now? Very few could answer.
because inflation doesn't look dangerous. It doesn't arrive wearing a mask.
It doesn't knock on your front door. It doesn't send you a warning letter.
Instead, it quietly changes the value of everything around you.
Imagine this. It's Saturday morning.
You drive to your favorite grocery store. You've been shopping there for years.
You grab the same cart, walk through the same aisles, pick up the same milk, the same bread, the same eggs,
The same vegetables. Nothing feels different. Until you reach the checkout. The total appears. $180. You pause. A few years ago, the very same groceries cost $120.
You didn't buy more food. You didn't suddenly choose luxury brands.
You bought the same things. The only difference was the price.
Now imagine that happening. Not once, but every single year, for 20 or 30 years. That's inflation. It isn't stealing your money, it's stealing what your money can buy.
And those are two very different things. Here's something interesting. If I gave you $100 today and hid it in a drawer for 30 years, how much money would you have? Still $100.
But would it buy the same life? The same groceries? The same healthcare?
The same electricity? The same insurance? Almost certainly not.
Because while your money stayed still, prices kept moving.
Inflation never sleeps. It never takes weekends off. It never retires. It keeps working every single day. Think about your childhood.
Can you remember buying candy? Maybe it cost 25 cents?
A movie ticket. $5. A full tank of gas.
Less than half of what many people pay today. Were those products better?
Not necessarily. Money simply had more purchasing power. That's the silent danger. Inflation doesn't make you feel poorer overnight.
It makes you feel slightly more uncomfortable every year.
Maybe you stop buying premium coffee. Then you cancel one subscription. Then you delay replacing old furniture. Then you travel less often. Small adjustments. Quiet adjustments. Until one day,
you realize your lifestyle has changed. Not because you wanted it to. Because inflation slowly made the decisions for you. Here's another way to picture it. Imagine climbing a mountain. Every year you take one step upward, saving money, investing, planning for retirement.
But inflation is pulling a rope attached to your waist. Not hard enough for you to fall, just enough to make every step more difficult. If you stop climbing, the rope keeps pulling. That's why retirement isn't about reaching one magic number, because the number itself keeps changing. $1 million today may not provide the same retirement 20 years from now. The destination keeps moving, and that's exactly why so many people underestimate retirement. They plan using today's prices for tomorrow's world. Unfortunately, tomorrow has different prices. Here's something many retirees discover too late. Inflation affects the expenses you cannot avoid.
Food, utilities, property taxes,
insurance, healthcare. These aren't luxuries.
These are necessities. You can't simply stop eating.
You can't stop paying for electricity. You can't ignore medical care.
And that's what makes inflation so powerful. It attacks the parts of life you must continue paying for. But here's the good news. Once you understand inflation, you stop fearing it. Instead, you prepare for it.
You review your budget. You allow your investments to keep growing. You avoid assuming today's expenses will stay the same forever. Because awareness changes behavior.
And behavior changes outcomes. Inflation may be patient.
But smart planning is patient too. And over decades, patience often wins. Unfortunately, inflation isn't working alone. There is another expense, one that can erase years of careful saving almost overnight. Unlike inflation, it doesn't grow slowly. Sometimes, it arrives in a single phone call, a single diagnosis, or one unexpected hospital visit. Let's talk about healthcare.
David never thought this would happen. Let me introduce you to someone. We'll call him David. David isn't famous. He isn't a millionaire. He isn't a financial expert. He's simply an ordinary man. For 42 years,
he worked almost every single weekday. He missed birthdays because of work. He skipped vacations. He drove the same old car long after he could have afforded a new one.
Every paycheck, he saved something. Not a fortune, but enough. By the time he retired, David looked at his retirement account and smiled. I made it. I made it. That's what he told his wife. We'll finally enjoy life. For the first year,
Everything seemed perfect. Morning walks, coffee on the porch, weekend trips, lunch with old friends.
for the first time in decades, life felt slow, peaceful.
Exactly the way retirement was supposed to feel. Then, one afternoon,
Everything changed. It wasn't dramatic. No warning. Okay, I understand. Thank you for letting me know. No long speech from a doctor. Just one phone call. Your test results came back. David needed surgery. The surgery went well.
The surgery went very well.
Everyone celebrated. They thought the difficult part was over. It wasn't. Months of recovery followed.
physical therapy, prescription medications, follow-up appointments, specialists, travel expenses, insurance deductibles, unexpected bills. One expense became another, then another, then another. David opened his retirement account one evening. Not because he wanted to, because he had to. The balance had fallen much faster than he expected. Not because he bought expensive cars, not because he traveled the world, because life had happened.
And here's the part that surprised him most. The surgery wasn't the most expensive part. Recovery was. Small medical bills. Repeated month after month.
Quietly, almost invisibly, until they became thousands of dollars. David later told a friend something he wished someone had told him years earlier.
I planned for retirement. I never planned for getting older.
That's a sentence many retirees understand. Because growing older isn't a financial mistake.
It's part of life. Healthcare isn't unusual. It's expected. The real mistake is believing it won't happen to you. Think about your own life for a moment. How many people do you know
Who reached retirement without ever needing extra medical care? Very few. Maybe none. That's why healthcare isn't an emergency.
It's part of retirement itself. Preparing for it isn't pessimistic, it's realistic. Here's another mistake people make. They focus on the cost of treatment,
But forget about everything surrounding it. Transportation, time away from family. But forget about everything surrounding it. Transportation, time away from family.
prescription refills, medical equipment,
Home modifications, extra insurance costs. One event creates 10 new expenses.
That's why healthcare feels so overwhelming. Not because of one giant bill, because of dozens of smaller ones. One after another.
David eventually adjusted. He reorganized his finances, reduced unnecessary spending, built a stronger emergency reserve.
But he often wondered, how much easier would retirement have been?
If I had planned for this from the beginning. Maybe you've asked yourself something similar.
Or maybe someone in your own family has lived this story. The truth is,
Healthcare isn't something we can completely control. But we can prepare for it. Preparation doesn't eliminate uncertainty. It reduces fear. And retirement feels very different. When fear no longer controls your decisions. Unfortunately,
healthcare isn't the only thing people underestimate. There's another challenge, one that doesn't come from illness. It comes from love.
and for millions of retirees, love quietly becomes one of the biggest financial expenses of all.
Let's talk about helping adult children and family.
The most expensive word in retirement. Yes. There is one word, just 3 letters long, yet it has quietly emptied countless retirement accounts.
Yes, I'll help.
Yes, you can borrow the money.
I'll pay you back. Don't worry about paying me back. I'll take care of it. For parents.
A burden.
Yes, I'll take care of it.
That word comes naturally. You've spent your entire life saying yes.
Yes to school supplies. Yes to family vacations. Yes to doctor's appointments.
Yes to birthday presents. Yes to helping your children build a better life. That's what good parents do, even after retirement. That instinct never disappears. In many ways, it becomes even stronger.
Because now, you have something your children often don't.
Dad, would you be able to pick up the kids after school today?
Savings. And when life becomes difficult.
Dad, things have become a little difficult lately. Family naturally turns to the person they trust most. You. Maybe your son loses his job. Are you okay? Maybe your daughter is going through a divorce. Maybe your grandson needs help paying for college. Maybe someone needs money for a medical emergency. None of these situations are selfish. They're real. They're painful. And as a parent, you want to help. Of course you do. But here's the question very few people ask. Who's protecting your future while you're protecting everyone else's? Think about that for a moment.
You've spent 40 years building your retirement. Thousands of early mornings.
Thousands of hours at work. Years of discipline. Years of sacrifice.
Then, one family emergency. Dad.
I'm so sorry to ask.
Dad, could you help us just one more time? Another loan.
A few gifts. Helping with rent. Helping buy a car.
Helping with a down payment. Helping during difficult times. Every decision feels temporary.
Every decision feels loving. Every decision feels small. But retirement doesn't measure one decision. It measures all of them together. Imagine carrying a backpack. Someone places one small rock inside. No problem.
Then another. Still manageable. Another. 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 Each rock is light. But after years,
the backpack becomes almost impossible to carry. Financial generosity works the same way. It's rarely one large expense. It's hundreds of small sacrifices, quietly repeated over time. Here's something financial planners often say, but many parents struggle to accept. Your retirement savings have one job: to take care of you for the rest of your life. Not because your children aren't important, but because one day, if your savings disappear, the people who may have to support you are the very children you were trying to help. That's a painful cycle.
One that nobody wants. Sometimes. The greatest financial gift you can give your family
isn't another check. It's your independence. Imagine your children knowing Mom and Dad are financially secure. Their bills are paid. Their health care is protected. Their home is safe. They don't have to worry every time the phone rings. That peace of mind is worth more than many financial gifts. Love isn't measured by how much money you give. Love is measured by the security you leave behind. That doesn't mean you should never help. Of course you should. Families support one another. But wise generosity has boundaries. Sometimes helping means giving money. Sometimes helping means giving advice.
Sometimes helping means teaching responsibility.
And sometimes helping means saying, I love you, but I also need to protect my future. That may be one of the hardest sentences any parent ever says. But it may also become one of the wisest, because retirement isn't only about surviving financially. It's about remaining free. Free from becoming a burden. Free to enjoy your grandchildren. Free to say yes when you truly want to. Not because guilt made the decision for you. Unfortunately,
family isn't the only reason retirees slowly spend more money. There's another trap, one that doesn't begin with an emergency. It begins with freedom.
More free time, more choices, more opportunities to spend. And before most people realize it, their lifestyle quietly becomes far more expensive than they ever expected. Let's talk about lifestyle inflation after retirement. Freedom can become surprisingly expensive. For decades,
You lived by a schedule. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wake up, go to work. Come home, repeat. Life moved with structure.
there wasn't much time to spend money. Most of your day belonged to someone else. Then, retirement arrives.
Suddenly, everything changes. For the first time in years, your time belongs to you. You can wake up whenever you want, travel whenever you want, visit family whenever you want, eat out whenever you want,
Take a weekend trip. Why don't we go somewhere today?
Why not?
On a Tuesday. It feels wonderful.
exactly the life you imagined. And that's when something unexpected begins.
Not because you're irresponsible, because you're finally free. Freedom creates opportunity. Opportunity creates choices. And choices often cost money. Think about your first year of retirement. Maybe you decide to travel more.
You've earned it. Maybe you join a golf club or start playing pickleball. Maybe you finally renovate the kitchen you've dreamed about for years.
We've talked about this for years.
Perhaps you buy a camper, take a cruise, visit grandchildren more often. None of these decisions are wrong. In fact, many of them make retirement more enjoyable. The problem isn't the decision.
The problem is making all of them without realizing how they affect the next 20 years.
Here's something interesting. Researchers have found that spending often increases during the first years of retirement.
Not because retirees become reckless, because they finally have time. Time creates opportunities.
Opportunities create spending. Imagine opening every window in your home during a windy day. One leaf blows inside. Then another. Then another.
Each leaf is harmless, but after several hours, the floor is covered.
Small expenses work exactly the same way. A streaming subscription, a lunch with friends, a weekend getaway, a new hobby. These experiences,
Another online purchase, coffee every morning, dining out twice a week.
one expense doesn't matter. Neither does the second or the third.
But together, they quietly become hundreds of dollars every month, then thousands every year.
And tens of thousands over retirement. Here's the surprising part.
Many retirees don't remember making one big financial mistake, because there wasn't one.
There were simply hundreds of comfortable little decisions made during happy moments. That's what makes lifestyle inflation so dangerous. It doesn't feel dangerous. It feels deserved. After all, you've worked your entire life. You sacrificed vacations, worked overtime, raised children, paid your taxes, saved money. Of course you deserve to enjoy retirement. You absolutely do. But enjoying retirement and spending without limits, retirement should
Are not the same thing. The happiest retirees rarely spend the most money. The goal isn't to spend on more things, it's to spend on the things that genuinely enrich your life.
think back to your happiest memories.
Was it an expensive purchase? Or was it a conversation with someone you love? Watching a sunset,
Laughing with old friends, holding your grandchild's hand, walking beside the ocean, sharing dinner with family. Many of life's richest moments appear nowhere on a credit card statement. Some of the greatest returns in retirement.
That's an important lesson.
Retirement isn't about buying more. It's about needing less.
The most powerful financial habits often begin with a pause. Not because every purchase is wrong, but because Ask yourself, will this still matter to me 1 year from now? If the answer is yes, it may be worth it. If the answer is no, perhaps you're not buying happiness. Some purchases become forgotten within. Perhaps you're buying a moment. Moments disappear. Financial security remains. Every unnecessary dollar spent today is one less dollar protecting tomorrow.
Not tomorrow morning. Tomorrow. 10 years from now.
20 years from now. That's how retirement works. Every decision travels forward in time. And eventually, it meets the future version of you. Will that future version say, "Thank you, thank you," or "I wish you had been more careful. Wish you had been more careful." Fortunately, there's one final mistake we haven't discussed. And many financial advisors believe it's the most dangerous mistake of all, because it doesn't happen while you're saving money. The greater challenge begins after the saving is finished. It happens after retirement begins, when people start taking money out. Saving for retirement and living in retirement are two very different chapters. Without any clear strategy, let's talk about reason number 5. The biggest retirement mistake almost nobody prepares for. Preparing to retire and preparing to live in retirement.
Reason number 5. Saving money is only half the story. There is one mistake that surprises almost everyone. Not because it's complicated, but because almost nobody talks about it. Most people spend 40 years learning how to save money. Very few spend even 1 year learning how to spend it in retirement. At first, that sounds strange. After all, if you've saved enough,
shouldn't everything simply work itself out? Unfortunately, no.
Because retirement has two completely different phases. The first phase is building wealth. The second is making that wealth last. And those are two very different skills. Imagine spending 40 years filling a reservoir with water. Bucket after bucket. Year after year. Finally, the reservoir is full. Most people celebrate. They believe the difficult part is over. But retirement isn't about filling the reservoir. It's about deciding how much water you can safely use every day without emptying it too soon. Take out too little, and you may spend years denying yourself experiences you could have enjoyed. Take out too much, and one day, the reservoir runs dry. That balance is one of the greatest financial challenges in retirement. Many retirees withdraw money the same way they spent it while working. They see a vacation, they pay for it. A new car, they buy it. Home renovations, they write another check. Each purchase seems reasonable, but retirement money is different. Every dollar spent today is one less dollar that can continue working for tomorrow. And here's something many people never consider. Your investments don't grow in a straight line. Some years are excellent. Some years are disappointing. Some years, the market falls. If you're forced to withdraw large amounts during those difficult years, your savings may never fully recover. That's why successful retirees don't simply ask, "How much do I have?" They ask, "How much can I safely spend?" Those are two completely different questions. Let's imagine two neighbors. Both retire at 65. Both have exactly $1 million. The first neighbor spends whatever feels comfortable. Some years more, some years less. No clear plan. The second neighbor creates a simple withdrawal strategy. Reviews expenses every year. Adjusts spending when necessary. Keeps an emergency fund separate. 20 years later, their lives look very different. Not because one earned more money, not because one was luckier, because one had a system, and systems quietly outperform emotions. That's true in investing, it's true in business, and it's especially true in retirement. One of the biggest myths about retirement is this: if I save enough,
Everything else will take care of itself. But retirement doesn't reward hope. It rewards preparation.
think about driving across an entire country. You wouldn't begin the journey without checking your fuel,
Planning your route. Preparing for unexpected delays. Retirement deserves the same level of planning.
because your retirement may be the longest journey of your life. Not one weekend, not one vacation,
Possibly 30 years. Or more. And here's something that often surprises people.
A good retirement strategy doesn't make life feel restrictive. It makes life feel free. Why? Because every decision is made with confidence. You know what you can afford.
You know what should wait. You know your future is protected. Financial freedom isn't spending without limits.
It's spending without fear. That's a very different feeling. Because when fear disappears,
Retirement begins to feel the way you always imagined. Peaceful. Flexible.
meaningful, enjoyable. The goal isn't to die with the most money.
The goal is to use your money wisely, so it supports the life you've worked so hard to build.
And once you understand that, everything changes. Because retirement isn't won by the person who saved the most. It's won by the person who planned the best. We've talked about inflation, healthcare, helping family,
Lifestyle inflation. And the importance of having a withdrawal strategy. Together, these 5 hidden challenges explain why millions of people slowly run out of money after retirement.
But here's the good news. Every single one of these problems can be reduced. Some can even be avoided completely. In the next part, we're going to bring everything together and build a simple retirement plan that almost anyone can start following today.